Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right, folks. Sorry for the lateness this evening, but it's a combination of some of us were late getting home from work. Some of us had to go respond to personal needs. We will go no further with that. Um,
Aye.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's going to be a fair few topics for this evening. Some of which might catch a few people off guard. And one of them, and I can't really believe these words are going to come out of my mouth in a moment. Alright, let me just pop this in. SNL and Mick Jagger have an idea for Sister Act 3.
Yeah.
What?
It was another big night in Studio 8H late night after Saturday Night Live returned for its 49th season last week. Damn. The second episode of the new season saw Bad Bunny acting as host and musical guest. Oh, by the way, he wants to make a new Shrek movie. And there were some major surprises along the way. SNL alum Fred Armisen made an appearance in a Spanish language sketch, but the cameos didn't stop there. Lady Gaga showed up to introduce Bad Bunny's musical performance. Pedro Pascal appeared to reprise a fan favorite role from his time hosting, and Mick Jagger shocked the audience by showing up for some sketches. The Rolling Stones frontman also donned a nun's habit and showed up for Sister Act 3. As a gaggle of nuns try to find the culprit of some bad deeds, Jagger shows up and declares, "Fine, I confess, it was me. I was the one who corrupted these poor women with my lips and my hips." You can watch his hilarious performance in Sister Act 3, Kevin Gone Wild, below. Sister Act... Alright. How long has it been since Sister Act 2? Because that had to be late 90s, early 2000s at best?
I've never even
Let me
heard of
check.
that.
Let me check.
Because Sister Act was
93.
Sister Act 2 was 93?
Yes.
Dang.
Okay. It's not the longest amount of time between sequels, because at the moment, if we're talking live action, Top Gun 2 holds that distinction. But if we're talking animated, it's The Jungle Book 2.
Oh, yeah.
That movie was okay, but considering like so many years had passed, it's like, does anybody really care at this point? You know, just have the original movie and just leave it be. You'd have to have a really good premise for a third Sister Act, and most importantly, you got to get Whoopi back. You have to, because that is not Sister Act without her. But then again, she reprised her role as Guinan for the first time in over 20 years, and I don't know. I'd have to see a trailer, hear a synopsis. It has to be like a good story. It's like, you know, not a sequel for the sake of. It's one that's where you think, yeah, this is the right time, this is the right story to do it. Raiden, would you agree?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, it's been so. I mean, honestly, I know the first is popular, but I mainly go for the second one, especially because it had Lauryn Hill in it. So you know. So yeah, like you said, story definitely needs to be plausible. See what happens after audition. Just see where things are going after. Probably get some of the people replies to the roles back. Mainly Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's how I feel.
Madam President, would you concur?
I would say so. I mean, I'm of the person that, like, yeah, I don't need a sequel or this unless it's important. But if it's good, then I'll give it a pass. But I'm not sure especially with writing now, with these writers nowadays. I'm not saying that they're bad. It's just that they're given poor scripts. So they're given 4 scripts to work with. But if you were to work with it properly, maybe it could work. But I just don't know. I'm kind of sick of Hollywood not having original ideas and have to rely on old IPs and sequels or whatever. I'm just like, can you guys do something original? No? Okay. I'll be over here just not watching your movie.
You could be over here watching me hate Hulk Hogan. Honey, I know you hate him, but you really need to let it go. But it's Hogan. We know. Here you go. Here's Jim Cornette trying to be political. No. We had discussions about this.
No, nobody wants that. No.
By the way, SAG-AFTRA says hi.
I mean,
yeah.
only wanting to watch Jim Cornette being political would be like, I don't know, Raiden probably going after who's that really unfunny comedian that wanted to do the Barbie movie before Margot Robbie came
Amy
in?
Schumer.
Yeah, that'd be like
Amy Schumer?
that'd be like Raiden becoming like an Amy Schumer super fan. It's like, oh, bruh, don't.
Oh God, no.
No, like we'd have to stage an intervention if that's the case, man. I'm sorry.
I feel sorry for Cena in that movie Trainwreck.
Oh
no!
no!
He was in that. I forgot.
Makes you wonder how much longer he's going to be on SmackDown for, considering the actors' strike is over.
No.
Are you sure about that?
No, the actor strike is not over.
Okay.
Oh, definitely, especially with those. Oh man, I've heard the first pitch. Yeah, companies didn't care. I mean, I have heard that James Gunn is starting filming Peacemaker season 2.
Okay. Steve, are you of the same mindset that Sister Act 3 would have to have a very compelling story for it to come back after all this time?
Sadly, I am not too familiar with the Sister Act series, so I'm not really at a good position to put my 2 cents in on it.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, here's one that's probably going to... I don't know if this will spark debate or have people going yay or having like anime sweat bubbles and all that, but here we have the 25 greatest R-rated anime series of all time.
High School of the Dead?
Really?
I'm down with this. Hold on, let me hear. I need to see this list.
Okay.
Ideally, when you hear anime, your mind instantly conjures up a few images like brightly colorful, colored characters, big round eyes, and a slice of life stories. But the truth is that anime is a wide-ranging medium that covers all sorts of content and caters to audiences of all ages. Just don't ever watch Bible Black. It's for your own good.
or Legend of the Overfiend.
Oh, I don't even know what that is, but I don't know. I like it.
No, that is a whole bunch of nope.
Some of the best anime series ever created is rated R because they have the kind of graphics and themes that are inappropriate for children. That's saying it politely. We aren't talking about shows like Pokemon or Naruto here, although there is a a very mature fan-made short film of Zelda and Link that is not safe for work, and I say fan-made because Nintendo would never sign off on this, and the people who made it, they put money into it because animation, lighting, shading, ambient sound effects, and voice acting, you'd swear it was professional. Until you start seeing Zelda and Link getting a little close with each other, and I will say no further description from there. You can use your own imagination. These rated R anime series feature complex plots, psychological depth, violence, and dark visuals. Yeah, just look at Castlevania. The stories lie on either side of the spectrum, natural horror tales as well as light-hearted fantasies. If you're a true anime fan and are willing to expand your knowledge of the art, then this list of the best shows ever created is the perfect place to start. But remember, for an anime to be rated R, nothing is off limits, which means you'll meet morally corrupted heroes, witness the most gruesome deaths, and slip into some fascinating gore scenes. Number 25, Dead Man Wonderland from 2011. If you've recently watched Squid Game and have enjoyed the sheer ridiculousness of its violence, then Dead Man Wonderland is here to take one, no 10 steps further in the direction of the dark and delirious. Bringing to life the first 5 volumes of Kazuma Kondo and Jinsai Kataka's manga series, the anime follows teenager Ganta, who is the sole survivor of a mass murder of his classmates. That ain't gonna be soul-crushing at all.
I remember that opening.
When he is framed for the slaughter and sentenced to death after serving time in the titular prison, things get quite out of hand. Dead Man Wonderland is a prison staged as an amusement park. Intriguing. Where all the inmates are expected to take part in sadistic games to earn their privileges. All the inmates are fighting for their lives, but Ganta also needs to prove his innocence. The violence gets violent and twisted in more than one instant, and isn't for the weak-hearted. I'm just checking the properties of the microphone. Yeah, it's still set to the Yeti, so we're good. Okay. High School DxD. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
If people thought Rosario Vampire was ecchi, this thing is ecchi on steroids. Considering some of the seasons on Blu-ray are rated 18. With epic action sequences and plenty of fan service, that's saying it politely, High School DxD...
That's lightly.
Yeah, High School DxD fulfills every wish of mature anime fans. Sure. This OG of R-rated ecchi anime series follows an ordinary high schooler named Issei, who is reincarnated as a demon after his first date goes terribly wrong. But the girl who saves him is a seductress named Rias Gremory, and to finish his debt, he needs to serve in her army and battle angels and demons. Issei powers up by getting intimate with his harem of enchanting companions at the Occult Research Club. The anime is known for embracing sexuality without any sort of restraint. Oh, they're not kidding. However, underneath the R-rated fan service is a surprisingly funny, playful, and endearing story about friendship. And even though Rias is a demon, she's actually a sweetheart, because she could be playful and a tease in a good way, but she always sticks her neck out for Issei. So it's one of those, what she represents to a lot of religious groups is wrong, but the personality, heart of gold. Asian Demi-Human. Set on Earth, where a mysterious evolved species known as Asian walks amongst humans, this R-rated anime series explores the darker side of coexisting with evil. There's some obvious political jokes can make there, but we make a point on this podcast to not be political. While their supernatural powers are considered a threat to mankind, humans take extreme measures to hunt and eliminate them. Kai Nagai is a studious teen working hard to become a doctor and never indulging in matters relating to Asian. However, after a fateful accident, he is reborn as an Asian. Kay must lay low and make sure the government does not capture him. He finds more like him and learns what their plans of vengeful rebellion. Filled with hyper-detailed CGI animation and super-powered battles, Asian Demi-Human is an intense examination of two perspectives and how they clash with one another. Jujutsu Kaisen from 2020.
That's a good one.
The TAAF awarded Jujutsu Kaisen winner of the Anime of the Year back in 2022, and the main reason for this triumph in this series is spectacular action and eccentric characters. So basically, there's everyone walking around like they're Tony Stark. Its sinister charm is perfect for older fans, and its storyline goes as follows. Yuji is a carefree teenager who spends most of his free time indulging in his activities. 1. He frequently visits his bedridden grandfather, and 2. He immerses himself in the paranormal activities carried out by his occult club. Sounds like something that Stephen King would have done back in the day. One day, Yuji, considering he used to read police murder police reports at bedtime, now you know where he gets most of his ideas from. If I'm having to refresh, somebody's got some stinky fire going out in the neighborhood, and it's why I've had to close. Well, I close the window anyway when the podcast is on. But problem is, even if you got the windows closed, it finds a way in.
It's getting to November 5th anyway, so more likely people are going to be doing that kind of thing anyway.
One day, Yuji unknowingly swallows a cursed object. So, from Oni's perspective, that's hot flaming Mountain Dew. That houses deadly spirits, ending up joining in a secret exorcist society to combat supernatural forces. Jujutsu Kaisen arrived when anime was becoming more and more accessible to mainstream and Western audiences, which meant that its bold animation and subtle comedy were reaching the right audience and winning in every formula. Code...
Yes?
That'll do.
Code Geass. Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Extremely addictive for anime standards, and truly clever in its premise, Code Geass is known for grabbing the attention of mature audiences because of its blend of geopolitical elements and dystopian setting. Caught in a misfire between the Holy Empire of Britannia, a highly dominant military nation, and Area 11, which is a renamed Japan, is a student and exiled prince named
Lelouch?
That'll do.
Lelouch.
Lampereau.
Alright.
Mm.
He seeks to overthrow the Britannian Empire, but to do so he must don the masked persona of Zero, and use the powers bestowed upon him by a mysterious girl named CC. Lelouch leads a rebellion, and the series turns into a surprisingly great mecha anime. That's right up Raiden's alley.
Mm-hmm.
Filled with several battles of strategy, use of its wit, dynamic characters, and getting out of dilemmas in ways not known to man, the series becomes a multi-layered wonder. Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. Good Lord above, I've heard stories about this one.
Oh.
Despite being adventurous and captivating, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World is an odd isekai anime. It follows Michio Kaga, a young man who suddenly finds himself transported to a fantastical game world, so it's a similar premise to Rising of the Shield Hero. Very good anime, by the way.
Yeah.
At first, Kaga is dubious of his surroundings, so he pretends to play, defeats enemies, and passes obstacles. But when he realizes he cannot log out of the game instead of finding a way back home, Kaga embraces his new reality and decides to make the best of it. He enslaves Roxanne, a busty dog girl, wins over dungeons to earn money, and fashions a harem. The plot sounds decent, but this series is filled with a lot of blood and violence, and the scenes between Kaga and Roxanne are rightfully censored. The guy tries to be, from what I understand, like Charlie Harper, but the difference is Charlie at least had some form of a conscience to it, whereas this guy, you'd want to beat him senseless. High School of the Dead from 2010.
Oh, now that's a name I haven't heard for a decade.
From what I heard, this was available up on High Dive up until recently, because I was looking around for it, but for whatever reason, it's lost. And folks, we were having a conversation before we went on air. This is a reason why physical media is important and it matters, because unless you have the physical copy, streaming sites have the right to take stuff like this off of their platform and edit it to how they see fit. So support physical media. That's all we're saying. You'll thank us for it in the end. High School of the Dead starts at a brilliant pace, setting up its premise for a zombie apocalypse from the first episode. Again with the zombies. In the series, Japan is in utter chaos after the dead rise and begins attacking and turning people. Sounds like people after chucking out time in the local bars. When they reach high school, Takashi Kimura has no choice but to kill his infected best friend and vows to protect his girlfriend, Rei Miyamoto. It kind of sounds like a similar thing from John Carpenter's Vampires, where James Woods' character had to kill his father, who was turning into a vampire, and they didn't even tell them. You know, imagine being in that situation. You have to kill your best friend because he represents a threat It's one of those. Ugh.
Kind of reminds me of Shaun of the Dead as well.
A little bit.
Yeah.
After escaping the monstrosity, Takashi and Rei realize that the outside world is already in shambles. Well, it's not that much different from the way the world is at the moment. They ally with a bunch of people, the president of the Kendo Club, their hot high school nurse, of course, a politician's daughter, and an otaku, and fight together. The episodes get pretty bloody, with each of the characters slashing the zombies with zero remorse.
Jesus.
Sekirei? I'm guessing?
Sekiri?
That'll do. Blending the elements of an unusual romantic comedy with a supernatural premise, Sekirei is a smart, carefully paced, feel-good anime. It centers around the 19-year-old Minamoto Sahashi, who is physically weak but is selflessly and attentive towards those he cares about. One day he's walking home after failing college entrance exam for the second time when a beautiful woman falls from the sky and onto him. Why can't that happen to everyday guys like us? Just saying.
Wrong universe.
Indeed. Musabai is a humanoid extraterrestrial known as the Sikari, and her kind can kiss a worthy person and awaken their abilities. I'm just going to be looking up at the night sky as I'm walking home from work later. I'm just saying. A guy can dream, and then Rain looking up like, it's like, give me Ash. He's like, give me Ashley from the original Fresh Prince. Just saying. Tatiana, you good? That's what Musabai does with Minato, and soon he finds himself drawn into a brand new world of harem girls. I might have to look this one up later.
Harems again.
I might look this up later. Just saying. Hey, I'm a guy. Filled with dramatic.
It's okay.
Fair.
Filled
Fair.
with. Ooh, did someone say her? No, honey. No.
No, come back to bed. No.
Then I want a harem. Okay, imagine a harem where they're all like Hulk Hogan. I want a dream, not a nightmare.
Hey, you kind of deserve that.
Could be worse. It could be a harem featuring the Bella twins.
Please do not do
Oh
that.
God, kill it with fire.
As long
I'm
as
sorry, I couldn't help myself.
I've said this so many times. Bree over Nikki. I mean, Bree I've got my own issues with, but out of the two of them, Bree's a little bit more understated and a little more mellow. Nikki, beautiful woman, but when you've got an ego that is parallel to Hogan, you got problems. And there's only it's like, wait a minute, I said something. MJ said something I agree with. Madam President, I need medication. I think I have a headache. I think MJ said something that I agree with. Oh, he did, honey. Make it 3 shots. I'm going to need 3 shots of the experimental whiskey I've been working on in the basement. Honey, no!
No.
Anyway. Filled with dramatic moments and a delicate balance of comedy and romance, Sekiri is a modern imagination of the friendship between men and women. Doesn't say which... I'll look it up later, see if the Blu-ray's out. Baki. Adapted from the
Let's
first...
go!
Oh, that's
Wait,
struck...
what?
Oh, yes.
That struck a nerve. Adapted from the first volume of the manga series of the
Oh,
same
it is
name.
struck a nerve. It means
he likes it.
Yeah, I love it.
Baki is a pulsating martial arts anime. That would explain why. The main protagonist, Baki Hamna, is a fighter. He's won several underground tournaments, and it's time for him to stand up against the strongest man in his life, his father. I think a lot of people can relate to this.
Jiro.
However, at school tournament runner Tokugawa Mitsunari warns him of the fact that 5 of the most brutal and undefeated death row inmates have escaped from prison and are hungry for the taste of blood or defeat, whichever gets them first. The first men are advancing toward Tokyo, and there is no reason for them not to fight Baki, a fiesta for martial arts lovers. This anime shows what it means to hold a grudge and the actions it leads to. Prison School.
I don't know what that is.
I've heard things about this.
Oh, man.
Set in boarding school named Hachimutsu Private Academy on the outskirts of Tokyo, Prison School follows teen Kiyoshi and 4 other boys who have only just entered the premises of the the all-renowned all-girls school. The reason the school policy has been revised and has become co-ed, with the ratio between girls and boys being 200 to 1. The boys are self-aware. They know it's impossible to make a first impression, but when their plans of sneaking around and peeping at the girls fails, they are sent to prison on the school grounds with a month's sentence, monitored by the Underground Student Council. Their punishment becomes a hilarious exploration of school and prison, with the boys performing outlandish pranks and bonding over shared misery. Goblin Slayer.
Ooh, okay.
Before you go, I have a figure of one of the ladies from prison school. If anyone has heard of the name Mako Shiraki, you're welcome.
From the name
Okay,
alone,
continue.
Nice.
From the name alone, you can tell that this intense and gory anime has two major themes: goblins and slaying. In this fantastical world, goblins are infamous creatures known for their cruelty and penchant for reproduction. Let's see where this is going already. They ravage villages.
Giggity.
They ravage villages and take women, forcing a 15-year-old priestess to join a band of amateur hunters to locate these goblins. I appreciate it's probably like a violent world, but that's a bit young. For a character, fictional or non-fictional. The group is stuck defenseless, and the goblins ambush them. And right when they're about to attack the priestess, the ironclad killer and savior appears and destroys the horde of goblins. This goblin slayer himself is a silver rank holder, so he allows the little members of the Adventurers Guild to accompany him. However basic in its narrative, Goblin Slayer delivers gory death scenes and a hard-hitting visual experience. Parasite.
Oh yes.
I've seen this.
Much like the much like the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Venom, I don't think Venom's part of the MCU. I don't think
Actually,
he is.
Sony
Yeah.
Universe.
Not yet.
Sony's
No.
Sony's Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. This
Whatever
science
that means.
This science fiction horror series produced by Madhouse, good company already, starts with an alien invasion, again with the aliens. Their presence on Earth only calls for danger because they're walking among humans, hungry for their meat, burrowing into the brains of their targets and taking control of their bodies. I could say something about modern events, how they're brainwashing some people, but I'm just going to take the high road.
Yeah.
When nice guy Shinichi Izumi, a 16-year-old high school student, is attacked by an alien, the horror does not land on his brain, but on his right hand instead. Stuck in the wrong place, the parasite Migi cannot relocate, so it must coexist alongside Shinichi, and the two must fight to stay alive in a world of brutality and death. Considering how little we know of the universe outside of our little planet, Parasite creates a storyline that isn't entirely farcical. Moreover, its astonishing gore and jaw-dropping action alone are enough to keep you hooked. Psycho-Pass.
Ooh, I heard about this one.
Imagine the best elements of cyberpunk mixed with a psychologically intriguing plot. What you get is a thrilling anime that is violent and futuristic. Set in the 22nd century when Japan is under the strict scrutiny of the Sibyl system, certain inspectors were tasked with eliminating all ill based on the psyche of a person, even if it required the use of brute force. Sounds a little similar to Minority Report in a way. On the other hand, we have enforcers who are inspectors gone rogue and carrying our criminal activities across the city's nightscape. Akane Shinemori is our typical good girl, willing to destroy everything in the name of justice. Sounds like Princess Amelia from Slayers. But when she learns... if you ever get round to watching Slayers next, imagine the type of enthusiastic energy that Win has, but then dial it up to wholesome, energetic vibes, and there you get Amelia. Voiced by Veronica Taylor as well.
Ooh,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Is our typical right everything with justice, but when she learns about the glitch in the Sibyl system, her perspective shifts. Psycho-Pass is a complicated anime with the themes that will only resonate with an older audience. Kengun Ashura.
Yes, baby. Let's go. All right, I love this show. I love this anime so much.
In the gritty and violent world of Kengan Ashura, business deals aren't carried out traditionally, but instead the Moguls hire gladiators to fight in underground tournaments to place their bets on the strongest contender. The trend has been in practice since the Edo period, so it is only natural that the rules are to fight or die. Uma Tokita is a skilled gladiator who fights on behalf of the chairman of Nogi Nogi Group, Hidekai Nogi. With the help of his appointed manager, Omo gets listed for several killer Kengan matches and unleashes wrath upon those he fights against. This series is one of Netflix's greatest action releases in recent years, and the reason for its R rating is the ruthlessness of the tournaments and sheer monstrosity of the players.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Vinland Saga.
Yes.
I've heard of this.
Yes. Oh, God, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
This is an epic historical fictional / revenge anime that begins with the adventures of young Thorin. As a child, he used to hear the stories Thorfinn, used to hear the stories of sailors crossing the vastly spread oceans to reach Vinland, the island of the legends. The place is nothing like the village in Iceland where he grew up. Now, the growing war between England and the Danes has left him as a mercenary at war with anyone who crosses his path. All Thorfinn wants is to kill the arrogant Askeladd and avenge his father's death. The animation is hauntingly beautiful, with most of the shots capturing the brutality and bloodshed of Viking warfare during the Middle Ages. The fight scenes are truly captivating, but it is the complex characters and the transitions that make the series great.
First season is so good.
Black Lagoon.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Pure blood on the wall, profane gang action meets pitch black humor in this stylish and aesthetic anime. The story of Black Lagoon is a bit complicated. Rokaru Okijima is a mild-mannered salaryman who only wants to rise the ranks. When a business deal in Thailand goes wrong, he is kidnapped by the Black Lagoon crew. The crew is a deadly one, including a group of mercenaries who operate out of the lawless city of Ronapur. Barokaru was already done with his corporate life, so instead of escaping the hellscape, he finds himself embracing the violent criminal world of Southeast Asia. Apart from the extremely graphic visuals of drug dealing, prostitution, and bloodshed that runs in the streets, it is fair to note that the gang's compassionate leader Revi has a mouth like a scissor. I'm guessing Revi is the one pictured.
Yes.
And it's by Madhouse, so I may just give this a look. This is someone that a lot of people know, Hellsing Ultimate.
Definitely.
Classic.
Also, voiced by Crispin Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
A vampiric badass gore fest that only delights you with its characters, but also quenches your hunger for consuming rated R stuff. Set in a world where vampires roam the night, devouring every human in sight, Hellsing Ultimate familiarizes us with the organization created by Integra Fairbook Wingate's Hellsing to protect the people of the city. She's not only incredibly powerful herself, but also has an army that she can command any time of night or day. But perhaps her greatest strength lies in a secret weapon she keeps close, the vampire Alucard, who works for Hellsing and battles his race, the undead. The scenes where the vampires threaten England, as well as the twisted horror in battles, are adapted faithfully from the original manga. Attack on Titan.
Yep.
This has a massive devoted fan base, so it is only appropriate that the series would make the list. Going back centuries, the anime paints a world where humanoid creatures known as Titans have rampaged the world, slaughtering mankind not for food but solely for pleasure. After years of being tortured, the remaining humans find shelter by creating barriers from the outside world and living in peace. Until one day, a giant Titan breaks through the walls, and unleashes horror upon humans. Eren Yeager, who loses his family, vows to eradicate all Titans from the earth. So along with his adopted sister, Mikasa Ackerman, and childhood best friend, Armin Alert, he joins the Survey Corps, a team of military soldiers who step out of safety and put their lives on the line to fight. The series has impeccable visuals as well as a thoughtful narrative. Bakano, I think. Adapted beautifully from Ryogo's Narita's award-winning light novels of the same name, Baccano is one of the few incredible series set during Prohibition, a madcap tale filled with jarring kills and a gory atmosphere. It jumps between three primary timelines. The first is set in the 1930s, where Flying Pussyfoot, okay, a transcontinental.
Okay.
Those are.
Right.
That's how it was written. I'm merely reading out. Those are not my words.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll even highlight it just so anybody reckons like that's how it's written.
Yeah, I can see it.
A transcontinental train is running at full speed, killing people behind it. Somewhere else in New York, mad scientists are scheming to gain immortality, and in the 1700s, alchemists were uncovering deadly secrets. The anime is extremely violent and delivers some of the most jaw-dropping scenes of bloodbaths, but at the same time it has a comedic factor to keep things light. The chemistry between its diverse characters, particularly Isaac and Miria, is a surprising fun to watch. In the 1930s. Oh, yeah. Devilman Crybaby.
Oh, dear God.
I've heard the name, but not too familiar.
I've heard of it.
Staying relevant almost 50 years after its initial release, Devilman Crybaby is an anime that has not only left a massive impact on art, but also inspired several creators for decades. This ultra-violent reimagining follows Akira Fudo, a soft-hearted and trusting boy whose innocent friendship with his best friend, Ryu Asuka, transforms into an epic struggle between good and evil.
Doesn't it always?
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Ryu leads Akira to a party which turns out to be a Sabbath where demons are gleefully taking possessions of human bodies and turning them into hybrid monsters. Sounds a bit like the Umbrella Corporation. When Ryu... Hey, I'm not just saying what you're all thinking. When Ryu becomes the victim of one, Akira follows suit to save his friend, and upon a partnership with a devil named Amon, Akira transforms into Devilman. The anime pays a lot of attention to visceral gore and environmental devastation. Berserk.
Oh,
Yes.
Now we're getting to the meat and potatoes.
More often than not, anime centered around the life of mercenaries are R-rated. Of course. The same is the case with Berserk, which follows the journey of Guts, who is known for being the strongest fighter alive, as the Black Swordsman Guts jumps between gigs, only ever staying with the group that pays him more. Well, that's just business sense. If someone's paying you more, take it.
Yeah.
But when he happens to defeat most of the members of a group called the Band of the Falcon, Guts is challenged to a duel with Griffith, the leader. Griffith leaves Guts incapacitated in just one blow. Eventually, Guts joins the Band of the Falcon, fueled by his own experience and troubled childhood, willing to destroy whether it is Guts' one-man war or his role in gritty sword fights with a Griffith. The series portrays dark mythical themes and pure carnage without ever holding back. Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a classic.
Yes.
I like the art style. There's something about 90s anime you just don't get with some anime these days. I mean, anime's gotten a lot better, but there's something about this look, you know, especially with especially with the details on the guy's muscles here.
Didn't Steve Blum voice in Cowboy Bebop?
Probably.
Yes, sir. Spike Spiegel.
Censored for the younger audience because of its violent scenes and coarse language, this classic anime is more a space western than an action adventure. It centers around Spike, Spiegel, and Jet Black, two bounty hunters who trot across the solar system in search of criminals. The crimes lie anywhere from theft and drug use to murder, and the outlaws responsible for this are terrifying. Soon, Spike and Jet are accompanied by more tough fighters like Faye Valentine and Edward Wong. Cowboy Bebop is more stylish and celebrated than any other anime on this list, and the reason is its complex characters, who aren't just fighting iconic battles but also struggling with their past. Moreover, the animation is beautiful as it paints a beautiful picture of a neo-noir universe that lingers in your memory, and the theme to Cowboy Bebop, perfect. Redo of Healer.
Oh no!
I've heard heard about this one.
Because we're specifically...
This one goes to places.
Oh boy.
Because we're specifically taking a look at some of the greatest R-rated anime series, Redo of Healer deserves a mention. On the surface, the series is a dark revenge fantasy where our protagonist, Keiyaru, simply seeks vengeance against all the people who wronged him. Of course. Kedera is a healing magician who has lived a difficult life as a victim of sexual abuse and torture. Steve was right when he said it goes to places. Broken and crushed by the weight of endless agony, Kideru decides to use his magic and redo the past 4 years of his life so he can go back and punish everyone who hurt him. So it's kind of like what Whis does from Dragon Ball Super, where he's able to essentially rewind time. While the premise leads you to believe that Kiru deserves justice, it is the brutal methods he uses, inflicting pain like a sadist and losing himself in the process, that leaves you conflicted and disgusted. So basically, Batman, if he crossed the line.
Oh, no. He goes beyond. He goes even worse than that. And the things he does, we can't say on Twitch. That's all I will say.
Noted.
Worse than Kira?
Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I really need to get back to this.
This is a good one. Really good one.
Probably the best thing about Cyberpunk Edge Runners is its animation, color scheme, and overall aesthetic. The visuals are enough to get you dunk into its gritty world, but let's take a look at the storyline anyway. Set in a futuristic Californian town known as Night City, the series follows David Martinez, a street kid who dreams of becoming the head of the greatest security corporation. He enrolls at the Arasaka Academy, but a devastating incident leaves him crushed and no choice but to implant a Sandavestian cyberware onto his back, gain incredible powers and use them against the very corporation he wished to be a part of. David's character is quite emotional, which is why he never holds back while fighting. Darkly beautiful, the anime will surely give you an adrenaline rush, and number one on the list, Chainsaw Man.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's that person thinks.
Yeah.
Created by MAPPA Studios, Chainsaw Man is a pulse-pounding action anime. The story revolves around Denji, a teenager who wishes for nothing more than a normal life, to be free from the weight of his father's debts, and to have a pretty girlfriend. I think we can all relate to that. So far, all he has is a best friend demon dog named Pochito to call his home, and at one time he was hit on by Himino. That was awkward, knowing the age difference and the fact that, well, he wasn't exactly legal. We move on.
Yeah.
But in her defense, and I'm saying this lightly, she was drunk at the time, and when she sobers up the next day, she's like, yeah, kind of glad you stopped me. But I will say, Himino, when she's just being herself and sober, a likable tomboy. That's all I need to say. When an unbelievable betrayal leads to his death, Denji strikes a deal with Pochita and transforms his desperate self into a hybrid. His devilish powers and thirst for redemption lead him into a world of violence, and devotes his life to fighting with the hope that one day he will get what he wants. Delivering fan service moments as well as graphic action with an atmosphere of pure darkness, the anime appeals to fans. I'm a little bit surprised that Ghost in the Shell, particularly the first movie, was left off this, because there are some visuals in there that was pretty bold for the time.
And Akira.
And James Cameron, to this day, still praises not only Ghost in the Shell, but the very first Blood the Last Vampire. That thing goes to places, even though it's a near 40-minute movie.
Oh, you mean the animated one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've seen that a couple times.
The live-action movie, I'm going to be nice. There are some nice odes to the original where they pretty much copy the carrier plane scene shot for shot. But Gianna June, who plays Saya, perfect. Got the mannerisms down to the smallest detail. The only thing I found was a little bit difficult was replacing the nurse with Alice. You know, it didn't really work for me. Also, the idea that Saya was half human, half vampire, when based on the information we have from the original animated movie was that she was the last remaining original vampire versus the Chiropterans. Chiropterans are basically like vampires on steroids. They're
so kind of like the Reaper. So kind of like the Reapers from Blade 2.
Yeah. Heck of a list on there. Chainsaw Man is probably something I probably will check out. I would get Crunchyroll, but I've already got High Dive, Prime, Disney Plus, and Netflix. You know, and people are already struggling with the cost of living currently and inflation seeming no end. So if this one gets a Blu-ray release, I'll pick it up because, you know, not to pound it, you know, beat a dead horse, but folks, seriously, support physical media. You're doing yourself a favor in the long run. Some surprising ones on the list. I wasn't at all surprised to see go back up, you know, High School DxD, because good lord above. If they ever, and I stress huge if they ever made this live action, there are many changes in the writing you will have to make, because people in good conscience, based on the ages of the characters, could never do this live action unless they age the characters up, because most of the characters in this are high school age. But for whatever reason, if it's animated, you're able to get away with it a little, which I question a little bit. Just a little bit. It's like, no. But, oh, did we miss one? Oh, we did miss one, I think. Oh, it went into most rewatchable. Don't know why it's done that. Okay. Yeah, for some strange reason, it's changed lists somehow. Alright, let's put it back to what it was. That's better. We'll check out the most rewatchable ones at some other point in time, because like I say, I wasn't expecting it to jump across like that. Great list. Some on there I'm not surprised with. Some I'm a little surprised that weren't on there. I mean, the Ghost in the Shell standalone complex, alright, it's tamer in comparison to the movies, but should have deserved a mention. But some of them I'll probably check out, some of them I probably won't. Yeah. So, Stephen, thoughts?
Yeah, very interesting list. I have to agree with the top choice of Chainsaw Man, because after seeing one particular scene in the anime, yeah, it is R-rated for a reason. Although surprising to see a lot of more recent anime in there, included on the list. Redo of Here is pretty much 2 years old at this point, and already I've seen a lot of videos online about how risque it is in terms of its premise. Then again, I've noticed a lot of manga recently has just been a lot of revenge-themed isekai. Is that just a popular genre at the moment?
Probably.
Looks like it.
Mm-hmm.
They should do a revenge anime series for me. Not now, Bats.
Nope. Out.
I'd like a revenge series where I go up against Hogan. Honey, we talked about this. No.
Eat your Scooby snacks.
No one Scooby snacks.
I'll give you an Oni snack.
Oh boy.
Wait. I'll have free Dominoes for a month if I will do exactly as you say, Madam President. I will do exactly as I say. Yes, you will.
Mhm.
Raiden, thoughts on the list?
Hey, very impressive. I'm happy that my favorites, Baki and Kengan Ashura, got on there. I love those two animes to death. Also, really happy that Vinland Saga got some love. First season is so good. I swear to God, the animation is just so pretty. Seeing Devilman Crybaby was good. Honestly, the only time I watched Crybaby was because the beatboxing scenes. That was pretty much it. But I do remember the original Devil. Oh my God, the scenes in that show. Oh Lord.
Yep.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. Ugh.
And this is why a lot of audiences are jumping over to anime, because not a lot of Western shows are actually giving people what they want anymore.
Yeah. Also, not surprising that Berserk was on there. I mean, that it's iconic for its brutality. Cowboy Bebop, also iconic. A lot of good scenes. Honestly, the only thing that feels like it was missing, like, no Death Note. That was really weird. I mean, Death Note has some scenes that are just oof. But yeah, like I said, very impressive list. Movie Web knew what it was doing, handpicking a lot of classic to new age. So that's very respectable. So I gotta say, really great list overall.
Madam President?
This list wasn't surprising. Again, there are a lot of anime on this list that you may have not have watched them, but you know about them because they are very infamous. Especially Berserk, because I've heard a lot of things about Berserk. Yeah. That's terrifying. No thank you. Yeah. Also, I've
Especially the original
heard quite a
ending.
bit about Chainsaw Man. I've never seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. So, what surprised me is like they added Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's like seems fairly new and recent, but fair.
Oh, it does get brutal. Trust me.
I believe you. But yeah, all in all, this list isn't surprising, but it's actually very good. So I'll take it.
Oh, another thing, like they say R-rated anime. I'm surprised Elfen Lied is not on there.
Oh yes.
Another anime series. I'm surprised Blood Sea wasn't on there.
I was just about to mention that, bro.
The last couple of episodes, the last like 3 or 4 episodes, shit gets real.
Yeah.
Especially when one of the monsters is devouring the twins. It's like, I'm watching that, so I'm like, I'm sorry, is this happening?
I need an adult.
I am an adult. That's questionable.
No, you are not.
I can be a sub-adult. We'll talk.
Well, think about it.
Oh, there. And also the movie sequel they had for that. Oh boy, they dialed the visuals and the violence up incredibly. The only thing that took some people by surprise, not in a bad way, it was more of like, huh, that's unexpected. There was an implied love interest for Saya with a girl that befriends her, and it's like, oh, okay, that was different. Because in previous incarnations, she's always been kind of a romantic, a little bit like Lilith from the Owl House, because it just doesn't interest her. And of course, there was the implied romantic angle between her and Kai from Blood Plus, even though she's his adopted sister, which is like, writers, you're making this weird. It's like, I get what you're
Don't make it weird.
It's like, I get what you're trying to go for, but I don't know. And Kari Logreen, who voiced Saya and Diva, perfect. Just nailed it. Alright. It's time again. Let me just make sure I get this copied in. And YouTube, for once, no autoplay. Seriously.
No.
Seriously, no autoplay. Stop it. Alright, hang on, just go answer that notification on the other side. I hate it when notifications pop up and it's just like, yeah, can you not? Alright, I am at 0.
Hang on, I don't think the link's come up yet.
Beg your pardon.
Alright, I'm at 0.
Yeah, the link is there, dude. It's in the main chat.
I think Discord's acting a bit funny
Okay.
this evening for me. Hang on.
You did say your Wi-Fi was acting a bit weird.
I just think it's the internet in general on my phone. But it's the only way I can. It's the only device that is able to connect to it.
Alright.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I popped it to you as a DM, so. Alright, Liz is at 0. Raiden, you at 0.
Yes, sir.
Just waiting on Steve.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, play. What this? Yeah, for some strange might have to restart because for whatever reason YouTube pushed it down to 360 pixels instead of 720 like I wanted it for, which is that's just super weird. YouTube, how many times?
Yeah, it does that.
Right.
Probably might be something to do with the download speed and such.
Maybe. It's never been a problem before. Okay, you're all back at 0?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, play. Oh, it's done it again. Oh, it's weird.
How to restart again?
Hang on. No, I think he's settling. Yeah, he's fine. What this movie does masterfully is seeing the escalation from two fronts. May as well again, because like I say, it's going to ruin the flow. All right, here we go.
Third time's the charm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
At 0.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. What this movie does masterfully is seeing the escalation from two fronts. One, of the situation of honest citizens, law enforcement and legal services beginning to turn the tide on organized crime in the city after the fall of Falcone in Batman Begins. And 2, how Batman's presence and actions in Begins brought out the rise of the Joker. Also, it's kind of refreshing, in a sense, not to have an origin story for the Joker for a change. Most people that know comic book lore, backstories, origins, know of Joker's tale in the same vein as that of Spider-Man, Superman, and of course Batman. We've been there and done that. So, to have an air of mystery surrounding this take on the Joker is interesting, as this allows the audience to use their imagination more. Although it has been theorized that he may have been a CIA informant, as during the interrogation scene with Bats he says,
"Never start with the head, the victim gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the neck."
So he must have experience in interrogating people. That and the idea that it's simply face paint instead of bleached out skin as that does mean he'd be able to blend into the background more in moments he chooses not to use said face paint, such as the assassination attempt on the mayor, and it's one of the few times we're able to see Heath Ledger more clearly. Back to the theme of escalation. With each act, Joker carried out, it upped the ante every time he did it. First, it was robbing the mob bank, then it was party crashing Bruce's fundraiser for Dent, and then it was taking Gordon out, or so we thought, and blowing up an inmate in MCU lockup, and probably along with Marvel's recent take-ins to boot, and then attempting to blow up 2 different ferries with his social experiment, whether the good people of Gotham would have the stomach to blow up inmates, or would the inmates potentially be just as callous to blow up innocent free citizens. What surprised me is a nameless inmate stepped forward, instructing the warden with calm conviction on what to do, before promptly throwing out the trigger. Okay folks, let's just be honest here a minute, just you, me and us. Are you really gonna argue with Debo?
No!
Joker's plan was to bring chaos and anarchy to the city, as that is what he lived for. As I think he resented what Batman was trying to do in being the difference maker in bringing control back to honest people. And what I found to be very profound is how Bats took the fall for Dent's actions, so all of Harvey's work would not be in vain, as if the city knew of his crimes, they would set every criminal free. Now, I'm not defending Harvey in this situation, but think about this. When you've had half your face scarred due to burns and losing the love of your life, I think it would send you off the deep end. Again, don't condone it, but I get it. It remains one of the best comic book movies to this date, and the writing proves it. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but you come to this review series for my honest take on movies. I think Bale was one of the weakest performers. Hear me out. The gravelly voice seemed more forced and contrived than usual. When you hear him use his Batman voice in Begins, it's subtle. It's a lower register in his voice to distinguish himself from his Bruce Wayne tone, and people wouldn't put 2 and 2 together.
Flass knows.
He won't talk.
He'll talk to me.
But here, it's like either he or Nolan just told him to almost get silly with it. It's not so bad in the bank scene with Gordon.
Some of the marked bills I gave you.
My detectives have been making drug buys with them for weeks. This bank was another drop from the mob. That makes 5. We found the bulk of their dirty cash.
Time to move in.
But as it wore on, it really began to grate. Thankfully, this is something that they would correct in The Dark Knight Rises, where he reverted to the register he used in Begins. Remember when I said in the 15th anniversary of Batman Begins that this next scene would spawn memes of infinity?
Where were the other drugs going?
I never knew. I don't know. I swear to God.
Swear to me!
Well, it continues with this.
Where are they?
Killing is making a choice.
Where are they?
Ugh. While I appreciate that this is well acted out with Bats essentially losing control and becoming volatile, the excessive shouting really didn't do it for me. Robert De Niro once said, "Powerful men do not shout." Someone is more sinister when they're either being real quiet with their delivery or you don't hear them at all. And taking into account that Bat is supposed to represent a figure of the shadows, this is a really contrasting and contradictive aspect of the character. As Bruce Wayne, he plays up the act of a playboy bachelor perfectly with the arrogant swagger he uses as a facade to lead people off the scent. Kane reprises his role as the surrogate father figure to Bruce and one of Batman's trusted confidants. He really provides the necessary common sense and logic when Bruce is trying to figure out the situation with the Joker, and says something that not only sums up the Joker, but something most people have quoted to describe people that only want anarchy.
Some men aren't looking for anything logical, like money. They can't be bought, bullied, reasoned, or negotiated with. Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Arguably the one who stole the show with this very different and iconic performance of the clown Prince of Crime. What I think is exemplary of the late actor is that he didn't even try to mimic his predecessor in Jack Nicholson in any way. Nicholson's portrayal in 1989 is iconic for different reasons, but equally iconic. For Ledger, the late actor really committed to the role in cutting himself off from contact with people in order to get into the mind of this persona he would be taking on, as the mannerisms and nuances are very different from roles he's undertaken before, from 10 Things I Hate About You and A Knight's Tale. But that's the thing about method actors, they really study the characters they're looking to portray so that when you see them perform on screen, they cease to be who they normally are and they become said characters. In a similar vein to RDJ as Sherlock Holmes, you're not seeing Robert Downey Jr., you're seeing a very flawed and eccentric take on Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's character. When he's Tony Stark, you can't tell if he's playing Stark or just being himself. You can make the argument that Eckhart achieved just as much in his role as Dent as Ledger did with the Joker, as you see the fall from grace that Dent made in the Joker's plan to show someone as good as Harvey could fall with the death of Rachel Dawes. You do see very small, subtle glimpses of Dent's fall into insanity and darkness with the way he assaults a member of the mob in court, and the way he's interrogating one of the Joker's followers with the crazed look in his eyes. He also says something that's just as profound as Alfred's assessment of the Joker.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
But enough about Hulk Hogan. Gary really grew more into the role of Gordon as you see him more confident in his performance and becoming more authoritative and in control of the situation even when chaos is breaking loose. The trust in his alliance with Batman grows more as you see how they act more like a team when he leaves the Joker with the Dark Knight in the interrogation room. Small little bit of trivia. The mustache is actually Gary's in this sequel, whereas the mustache he had in Begins was actually a glued-on prosthetic. Maggie replaces Katie Holmes as Batman and Dent's love interest. As I said 3 years ago, I've warmed to Katie's performance over time, but I think Maggie was the better Rachel as she's calm, composed, and confident. I really love the fact that Freeman's Fox was brought more into the fold as essentially Batman's Q, with the upgrades that he had to his suit and the witty rapport they have.
How will it hold up against dogs?
We talking Rottweilers or Chihuahuas? Should do fine against cats.
No doubt that was a nod to Selena Kyle. This is a Christopher Nolan film, so you know he's going to be more practical and take said practical effects more seriously. The fact they actually flipped the truck for real is amazing in its own right, as most other studios would CG it. But he committed to the practical, and it really does add more to the scene with Joker against bats. The visual effect of Harvey's scarred face, which had been achieved through skin grafting and then superimposing the final look through post-production, is probably the most hauntingly gruesome look of Two-Face ever seen on film. More so than Tommy Lee Jones's look, but then you have to remember that was done for a camp and more comedic effect, whereas with Nolan, he goes for the heightened reality. The destruction of the Tumbler Batmobile allowed the creation of the Batpod to come into play, as Nolan didn't want to reuse the Batmobile. And so to see the pod emerge from the remains of the Tumbler looked photoreal when you consider it was applying some visual effect aesthetics that you would see in Bayformers. Ooh. Folks, as a car guy, that really hurt to see what happened to the Batmobile. Oof. The Batsuit was redesigned for the movie for the same reason in the story. Both the character and the actor wanted to be more mobile, as when you consider the latex is hot and very weighted, it would allow Bale and Bats to do what they needed to do. If the music reflected and heightened the tone of the previous entry and helping it separate itself from the former series, then James Newton Howard and Hans Zimmer expanded on what had been established with Begins, and like with the theme of escalation, they really heighten the threat that is now facing Gotham and Batman. Howard worked on the theme for Dent, on how he starts out as a symbol of hope before descending into moral corruption. Zimmer worked on Bats and Joker. Batman's theme is as we know it from the previous entries, so we have that familiarity. Joker's theme is really unsettling, where the tension builds in the strings used in the score, especially in one scene where he was playing possum and holds the mob leader at knife point, and you hear the tension break when he makes his kill and then the mobster falls to the floor. This is a really good score composition, as it puts the audience on edge, just as the characters are feeling it on screen. The movie received critical acclaim. Alongside Iron Man, had redefined the potential of superhero films by combining comic book tropes with real-world events. From Roger Ebert. Peter Travers praised Ullman's skill in making a virtuous character interesting, and he, among others, described Kane's and Freeman's performances as effortless. Ledger was praised for his performance, and many reviews said it outshone Jack Nicholson's magnificent performance, and considering the portrayal he gave in '89, that was no easy task.
Nope.
Ledger won the film's only awards at the 15th Screen Actors Guild Awards, the 62nd British Academy Film Awards, and the 66th Golden Globe Awards for Best Supporting Actor. He also won an Oscar at the 81st Academy Awards for Best Supporting Actor, and might I add, deservedly so. His line of, "Why so serious?" is considered one of the most quotable movie lines today, along with the amount of times he would retool the story of my father in How He Got His Scars. The movie took in $1.006 billion against a budget of $185 million.
Wow.
Adjusted for 2023 inflation, and The Dark Knight's box office takings would now be worth $1.421 billion. The sequel in 2012's The Dark Knight Rises followed in as the concluding chapter in the Dark Knight trilogy, ending the 8-year journey of Batman's reboot. Since 2008, the movie has been treasured on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. I'm MJ Knight, and this was The Dark Knight.
Next time on Real Features, Children of the Night. After dark descends upon us, we recount the tale of the King of Vampires in the 1992 Gothic romantic horror, Bram Stoker's Dracula. How will this fabled legend be seen after crossing 31 years of time? Bram Stoker's Dracula. 31 years the legend. Coming soon to After Dark.
Ooh. I like the accent.
Yep.
Very nice.
Nice touch.
I asked her to go for the accent that Gary Oldman had used, and she's like, yeah, I can do that. Not a problem.
That's impressive.
Yep. Had to do a little bit of sound effects just to get the echoey effect, and in Vegas I had to use what it only describes as a cavern effect just to get that really sort of otherworldly kind of vibe to it, but that's why I wanted to go for
Hear that, yeah.
that, and because it was advertising After Dark, I couldn't use the usual funk for it. It's like, no. Gotta go with what you've used before. And it'll actually be the second time I've reviewed that, because I actually reviewed After Dark as one of the first few movies for that miniseries back in 2014, but because I like to feel like I've grown as a reviewer over the last near decade, I just thought, go back and take another attempt at it, because it's time. Some of the gags for The Dark Knight, because when it said it blew up an inmate in the MCU, I'm like, you have to make a Marvel joke, you have to. and then seeing that Ant-Man 3 based on media reports and through Steven's own account, when he saw it as an usher, is like, it really wasn't that great.
No. And apparently Marvel's shocked by that. I'm like, really? You're shocked by that?
From what I've been...
I don't believe you.
From what I've been hearing from one video that Tyrone Magnus put up reporting on, and this is speculation until otherwise told, Feige is not only considering doing a soft reboot, which could be the whole reason for Secret Wars. But
that makes sense.
But apparently he's pleading with some of the original 6 to come back. So we could be getting Scarlet, Chris, and RDJ coming back, but until I see something official, I'm not believing a single word of it.
Yeah, especially with Scarlet. Yeah, no, she might not be coming back.
Well, considering Disney screwed
never
her
say
over.
never, but still, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, Chris says he's not done as Cap. It's just, and to be fair to him, he's hardly aged since the first time he put on the suit. So it's feasible for him to come back as Cap. Whereas RDJ, you know, he could get away with looking early to mid-30s as Tony Stark in the first Iron Man, but he's aged a little bit since then, and I think he's aged a little bit more since he went vegan, because they've noticed how he was around Infinity War and Endgame to how he looks now. He's aged a little prematurely, so I don't know. And of course, the gag of either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. I was torn between 3 subjects. Either Vince McMahon, because I thought that's a little too obvious, and considering the nature of why he's become a villain, it's not something I can put in a review. The other one was IGN, which I'm like, no, that's just like low-hanging fruit. But then I thought Hogan, because that actually started out as a meme where, you know, some of the, you know, previous greats, say like Hot Rod, and various other babyface characters that were taken before their time, and yet you look at the reasons why Hogan's hated by screwing people over, because he apparently made the argument for him to go over clean against Orton in 2006, and it's just like, dude, this should have been your moment to pass the torch. You did it for Rock, why couldn't you do it for Orton? I mean, with Michaels was... Or
we can go farther. Star K97.
Yeah, so I just looked
where the original idea, Bischoff was wanted to. He built the story of the NWO. Then you had Sting, maybe as the Crow. Like, okay, this is going to culminate. Everything's in motion, but Hogan's like, that will work for me. And then it was like a screwy finish.
And we don't talk about the finger poke of doom. Let's not talk about that.
And Oni will probably confirm or add weight to this particular nugget. The original plan for SummerSlam 93 was to put Bret Hart over in a title match, but Hogan said, and I quote, "I'm not putting a midget over." Oh my, wow.
Oh. Keep it classy, Hogan.
Oh wait, you're being serious.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Liz, we both know that Hogan is not even low class, he has no class.
Yeah, that's something Oni would say.
I am Oni Rakaku, and I approve of this
Impersonation. Listen to it later. No, the fuck I didn't! Okay. Enough clowning around. Steve, thoughts on The Dark Knight when it came out, thoughts on it now, thoughts on the review?
I remember very clearly seeing The Dark Knight when it first came out. Looking back at it now, still one of the best redefining cases of a comic book movie.
Mm-hmm.
Good job on the review as always. Not much that I can say other than that.
to our own Catwoman, Madam President.
I enjoyed the review, and I don't have a complicated history with The Dark Knight. It's just that I saw it later than most people, where it's maybe like a year or two later, maybe before Rises, and it's actually still holds up. That's, again, it doesn't have any hokey tropes or anything like that. It's just it doesn't feel standalone, but it doesn't feel like it's
connected.
Like it's far from it's not. It feels connected to Batman Begins, because again, it's a sequel, but it could be a standalone movie if it needed to be. It's just that it depends on how you look at it. I did enjoy that, and it's like, and also I do like what they did with the Joker, because again, as the Joker puts it, I prefer my backstory to be multiple choice.
Exactly.
Which again, if DC learned from that crap, please stop giving him an origin story. Even though the movie Joker's pretty good, so I will give it that. But all in all, it was a good review. I do like the movie, and that's all I can add to that.
And to our own Batman as well, Master Raiden, same questions.
Yeah, review's pretty good. Dark Knight is possibly one of the most iconic superhero movies of all time. You know, so much quotables from it. It's just infectious. You know, just the whole story building itself is just like, it's like one of the bases of like what a superhero movie should be like, out of an antithesis of a character. Part of me wishes, like, you know, Marvel figures that out, hopefully, because so far that the SAG-AFTRA shit is really killing them, and it's like they finally oh my god, our movies finally suck. Yeah, it sucked for a long time after Endgame.
I mean, the only exceptions would have been Spider-Man: Far From Home and No Way Home.
Yeah. But yeah, really good review and good stuff. Can't wait to see Bram Stoker Dracula. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate that. I made a point of watching Bram Stoker's again simply because, you know, it's always helpful once in a while just to take a refresher course. I don't know whether it's because every once in a while I watch it even with a fresh eyes and perspective, but the visuals and the lighting, it makes Dracula look creepier than he needs to be. And when they say that movie is a gothic, romantic, erotic horror, it's like, they're not kidding, because there are moments where you're like looking like, are they acting or are they just getting into it? I'm finding it very difficult to tell. And something I do touch on in the review, I'm going to be nice about this. The only thing I can denote about Keanu's performance is the accent he puts on, only because it's possibly down to the vocalization coach he was given, because most actors and actresses who are taking on roles that are not native to their own nationality, they have to go through certain exercises or practice certain ways to be able to pull off the accent naturally. I mean, a couple of examples. You know, when you hear Chloe Moretz playing her character in the movie Hugo, you'd swear she was English, even though the movie's set in Paris, which is weird. Or if you have RDJ in Natural Born Killers, he portrays an Australian eccentric documentary filmmaker. You'd swear that he was from Australia. It's just, when you hear Keanu do it, it's, again, probably down to the vocalization he was given, but it really comes off as forced and contrived. I mean, it'd be like Oni trying to sound Welsh. You'd be like,
Yeah, no.
so off key and weird. Now, here's the thing: nothing wrong with the Welsh accent, but it'd be like Oni, who has a very strong Southern American accent, trying to sound, say, someone like L-Man. It'd be like, you know, it's such a juxtaposition and a mismatch. It's like, you know. Now, RDJ, as Dr. Dolittle, he nailed it perfectly. Even down to, like, the little mannerisms with certain, you know, little words or the way you would pronounce it. It's like, yeah, he nailed that. But, I don't know. And also, Anthony Hopkins, wow. Talk about chewing the scene. Because you look at some points like, okay, dude, whatever they gave you to work with, tone it down just a little bit.
Oh, what, Interview with the Vampire?
No. Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh yeah. I
was gonna say he wasn't.
I mean, why am I not surprised? This is the same. I think wasn't he also in the 2010 Wolfman?
He was, and he literally did chew the scene, literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And of course, he technically chewed up the scene in The Last Night. Why did he ever sign up for that movie?
Money.
I know, but at that point in his life, he's made for life. You know, his children, his grandchildren, his great-grandchildren, his children for probably grandchildren for the next 300 years are set for life. He doesn't need to do that. I mean, let's think of a really weird example. It'd be like Tom Cruise playing Inspector Gadget. You know, it looks so weird. It's like, you're Maverick, you're Ethan Hunt from Mission Impossible. Why do you need to do that? Granted, he'd find a way to make it look interesting. As long as he doesn't do another follow-up to Vanilla Sky. Seriously, dude, what were you thinking with that movie?
That movie was so crazy.
And fun fact, that was a English-speaking remake of the original Spanish psychological drama, which Penelope Cruz was in both of them. By the way, Penelope, how you doing? Don't know what it is about her, but she's another one that does not age. Alright. Let's see. What can we... No, I suppose we may as well get this one out of the way. We've got probably about half an hour before we wrap up, and we actually try to wrap up properly for a change. Gwyneth Paltrow reveals plan to disappear from Hollywood. No one will ever see me again, which means my brother will be doing jumping jacks and cartwheels in the street. Academy Award winner Gwyneth Paltrow is known for a few things: winning the Oscar for Shakespeare in Love, forgetting which Marvel movie she's appeared in, and her wellness brand Goop. Speaking in a new interview with Bustle, however, Paltrow made a surprising revelation, admitting she might just disappear from public life entirely in the future. When asked to ponder what life advice she might get her fans when she enters her 70s and 80s, she replied, "I'll probably try, knowing myself, or I might be like, F this, I might just disappear and no one will ever see me again." This wasn't the last time she would bring up this prospect, though, referencing her interest in just disappearing later in the same interview. To conclude the same interview, Paltrow was asked about the prospect of selling off her Goop company. She said, "I have no idea. We're not ready to sell yet. I need a few more years." When the prospect of making a dramatic exit on her 55th, Paltrow added, "I'd be happy with that. I'll literally disappear from the public life. No one will ever see me again." Bustle followed up last time by asking her if she believed that was true, which she replied, yes. Paltrow has largely already taken a step back from acting career to focus on the Goop brand. Her last appearance in a feature film was Endgame, playing the role of Pepper Potts for the 7th time. She would lend her voice to a recent episode of American Horror Stories and appear on the Netflix docuseries. Another hot topic that came up in the same interview, the idea of Nepo babies. For those unaware, in an article in Vulture last year, called out Hollywood talent for using their famous relatives to get work rather than having much talent. Many took issue with the label, others ignored it. Now, Paltrow has sounded off on the topics, noting there's nothing wrong with doing or wanting to do what your parents do. Nobody rips on a kid's life like I want to be a doctor like my dad and granddad. The truth is, if you grow up in a house with a lot of artists and people making art and music, that's what you know. I know it's kind of an ugly moniker. I just hope that my children always feel free to pursue exactly what they want to do, irrespective of what anybody's going to think or say. Could Pepper Potts return to the MCU? After making 7 appearances in the MCU, ranging from Iron Man to 2019's Endgame, it seems like Paltrow won't return to her role. When previously asked about if the actress would rule it out, adding in a Goop podcast, I didn't die, so they can always ask me. But because of time traveling and reality-altering events, which probably might be for Secret Wars, you never know. When asked by a Marvel fan once again about a return, Paltrow responded with, OMG, stop yelling at me. I didn't. We just stopped doing it because Iron Man died, and why do you need Pepper Potts without Iron Man? I don't know. Call Marvel and yell at them, not me. I'm just sitting here. I get her point of view, but that could come across as a bit bitchy and arrogant. Just saying. Well, let's see what to take from this. I mean, it's not uncommon for some actors and directors to disappear from public life altogether. I mean, Meg Ryan's done it. She's pretty much gone completely off the radar, and she's quite happy just, living life on the low. I mean, that's what some of them want. I mean,
Rick Moranis.
Yeah, I mean, also, did they ever catch the guy that assaulted him?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, you can have a disagreement with the man, by all means, but you don't lay a finger on the guy. I mean, he's a national treasure.
You're right.
Some of them get into the acting gig, or, like what we do as podcasters. You get in, you go into, you enjoy the fame, you enjoy the adulation, but the long-term goal is to make money, entertain people, but then have a plan to have an exit, pass the baton, and then you go, live low and keep your hair down, because some people genuinely just want the quiet, easy life. I mean, Rock was saying in a video on his Instagram, the only downside of fame is that, well, there isn't, but if I want to go to the grocery store, I can't just waltz in there. I have to call ahead, get them to close the store just so I can come in and do my grocery shop and then leave. And I'm like, never heard of online delivery? Just saying. But, I get it. If they are going to do the soft reboot where RDJ is possibly coming back as Iron Man, I mean, it'd have to be a hefty paycheck just to get him to come back, considering in the last couple of Avenger movies he made something like close to 75 million for both of them, because the deal he cut at the time for Iron Man 1, he would receive box office receipts from every single Marvel movie thereafter, because that's what Jack Nicholson did when he signed on as the Joker. He said, I want, even if the movies are not great or that successful, I want a percentage of what they make. So let's say if Batman 89 or Batman Forever gets played on on regular TV, or it gets played on the streaming services, or it makes another sale on DVD or Blu-ray, they send him a check in the mail, because he still gets to get that. Now, some would say, though, that's just being greedy. It's like, you could make that argument, but it's also just smart business. And it's also making sure that, you're keeping your bank accounts full, and you're keeping your relatives set up for life. So imagine, I don't know, for argument's sake, Oni goes back into podcasting and creates the the Angry Madman's podcast starring Oni Rikaku. Liz is listening, like, oh, don't give him ideas. Every time, say, someone would download that and pay for the podcast or to be able to use it, 5 or 10 years down the line, when someone does that, they send him a check in the mail or they give him proceeds via PayPal. So one day he's just like, oh, just checking my PayPal. Liz? Yes? Someone sent me 50 grand today. Honey, do not complain about these things. Now go buy me dinner. Yes, ma'am. But that's how it would work. Or, you know, Raiden comes up with his own book later, you know, as an ode to the art of war. It's like, the art of slandering and to silence the stupid. And he's just writing this down. I was like, yes, I'm going to write this as my memoirs later. Thank you, dude. There he is rubbing his hands like, you know, maniacal laugh, like, the art of slandering. Oh, yes. And then Winter's like, look at the cute puppy. Okay, he's
Look
good.
at the pretty bunny.
But yeah, that's how it would basically work. When I say this, I'm just saying this as it is. I'm not that fussed if she ever does come back as Pepper Potts. I thought she was okay. Wasn't terrible. Am I gonna miss her if she goes off the public eye? Not really. I'm not gonna be sad, not gonna be glad. It's just like, whatever. Sir Stephen, your thoughts?
I give her credit. Sometimes in life, you just want to get away from the whole Hollywood business.
Mm-hmm.
It's like for your mental health. Too much being in the prying eye of the public can have some adverse effects on you.
I think we saw
Whether she would come back for another future Avengers film, who knows? But in my opinion, it's all mental health comes first.
Yes.
And if she needs some time away from Hollywood, good on her.
You go and say being in the public eye for too long can be bad for your mental health. I mean, if I'm wrong with this, then do correct me, but that might have explained Britney, you know, that might have been partial to Britney's mental breakdown a few years back.
Well, you see it a lot with child stars. They get pushed into the starlight too early, and they end up on going on the off the tracks, so to speak.
It was actually, I mean, there was the whole "Leave Britney Alone" meme back in the late 2000s, early 2010s, but it was used, repurposed appropriately, I might add, when she was campaigning for her emancipation. Leave Britney alone. It's just like, no, because what was happening to her at the time is just like, come on, you can see that the woman is clearly getting her act together. Let her have her rights back as an adult. And I'm saying this objectively, her mother was a piece of work.
No, her entire family was, because that's the reason they kept her on that conservatorship, so they could control her money. Which is why I can't stand Jamie Lynn Spears. I'm sorry. It's like I have my issues with that little brat.
Yeah.
I know she's not a kid anymore, but she's still an entitled little brat who used her sister's money and fame to get where she is. There, I said it.
That's not cool. I mean, not what you said, but what she did. I mean, that ain't cool.
Yeah,
that ain't right.
Also,
I also heard that Zoe movie wasn't good.
Yeah, to the point where they canceled the iCarly reboot, which is, again, fuck you, Zoe 102. I actually like that reboot.
Also, it has to be said, like I said, her mother was a piece of work. When during her breakdown, when your kid is at their lowest, you know, you should be comforting them. You know, you should actually be your parent. What did she do? She made money off of her misery, and I'm just like, lady, you sicken me.
You ain't making that happen.
And I'm not sure if I should say this aloud, but apparently in an interview, Britney's mom said this. No lie, she said that in an interview.
She ain't winning the Mother of the Year.
Oh, she is lovely.
Yeah, so, you know, I'm not the biggest Britney fan. It's just her. There are some one or two songs where it's like, okay, you know, it's not bad, but her music was never for me. But as a human being, the fact that she has full control over her life and her finances, I say good for her. Because, you know, as a compassionate human being, at least I like to think I am, I don't like to see someone suffer. So the fact that she won her rights to have her rights back, it's like, good for you. Because, you know, what happened, that was messed up. And no person on earth, provided we know the context and the circumstances that led to it. I mean, if there's somebody who is not maturely capable of conducting themselves properly as an adult, then, well, it depends on what is necessary. But the fact that she proved that she's more than capable of looking after herself is like, no, you carry on. Madam President, with regards to Gwyneth maybe or maybe not returning as Pepper and her wanting to retire from the public eye at some point in the future, what's your take?
Honestly, I'm not really a fan of Gwyneth nowadays, especially her trying to be a snake oil salesman and selling basically garbage and junk for thousands of dollars. I don't appreciate that. No, I have my issues with that. If she were to retire, let's be honest, I wouldn't miss her. Not many people would, but that's just me. And as in regards to her returning as Pepper, I couldn't care less, honestly. Like, write her off into the sunset with her daughter, with her and Tony's daughter, and just leave her alone. Just go away. We don't want you here.
All right. And to our own Blade in training, Raiden, same questions.
Mulligan, I can care less.
Fair.
Honestly, when it comes to her, I kind of don't like how she screwed over Winona Ryder for that role, for that Victorian era, whatever, Shakespeare shit.
Oh, Shakespeare in Love?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, her, she kind of screwed. I think they were going for the same part, but I think Gwyneth went under her and got the part herself. So it was also made a celebrity death match story, but like, yeah, that's some punk shit to me. Also, I have an affinity for Winona Ryder since Lydia Dietz, Goth. So,
oh yes.
Yeah, I don't appreciate someone doing that to a fellow goth icon. So yeah, I don't care. Go away.
Mills Lane, what do you think about that? I'll allow it. And also, Winona was in the first Star Trek reboot movie as Spock's mother.
Oh yeah, that's right. She was.
I might be remembering this wrong, so take this as it is, but I recall reading one commenter said when her character was killed, I was like, well, this is probably punishment for all the shoplifting. I'm like, dude. Like, really?
That's what made me feel bad. Like, oh no. I mean, but that's probably a symptom to a totally different problem, but still.
And from a story perspective, it actually enhanced Spock's character, because someone who's normally devoid of emotion, the fact he loses his mother, and Kirk very unsubtly gets him to show it. I mean, yes, he had to get him to show it, but given the way Chris Pine was acting, it's like, okay, I get that you're meant to be this generation's Kirk, but you don't have to be a little shit about it. And he was. I mean, one of the things they made the point of doing was not to mimic Will Shatner, but to have like the more subtle nuances. But I don't think even Shatner's Kirk would have done what he did. And Tiana might hear this later, but she actually saw the first Star Trek reboot while she was staying over with us one Christmas, and she always laughs at this one line. And it's the meeting between reboot Kirk and Spock Prime. Goes, it's like, how do you know me? I am Spock. Bullshit. she always laughs out loud at that, because it's just the way it's delivered, and it's just perfect. Wasn't happy that his younger version trashed by that point in the timeline an antique Chevrolet Corvette. It's just like, no, dude, don't do that. And of all things, why do you have to have like a 23rd century version of the classic Nokia ringtone? Ugh. Do you remember, like, you go into a theater sometime, you hear it, it's just like, really? I like how they did that in the first.
My mom had that ringtone.
I can remember they did that in the first Scary Movie, where I forget her name, but she was the one playing the Wayans brother girlfriend.
Oh, Regina Hall.
Yes. And it's just hearing it going off, and it's just like, ugh. Of all, I get that it's a parody movie, but of all the ringtones, you pick that one. I don't know. Steve, did we get to you about Gwyneth?
Yes.
You did. Okay. Right. In which case, yeah, I already did that. Probably got time for one more. Now, this is one I wanted to do on the opening episode, but due to time constraints, we weren't able to do it. So this one goes back about a month plus change. But Liz's former employment is sparking a bit of surprising debate. McDonald's.
Okay.
Oh, I've heard about this.
McDonald's has a surprising debate with its new anime-inspired ads on social media. McDonald's Japan has released some special anime-inspired advertisements on social media, and they've sparked a surprising debate that has gone viral after seemingly coming out of nowhere. McDonald's and anime have shared a lot of special collaborations in the past, as the fast food juggernaut has teamed with some major franchises through either its Happy Meals or other promotional efforts. They even featured as a restaurant in the anime movie Weathering with You. Really good anime. Really good movie, by the way. But this went to a recently new level as McDonald's started taking its team-ups with anime all over the world with its upcoming promotions for the likes of its featured, where the franchise highlights its cameos in different media. Although its latest anime-inspired ad with fans on McDonald's Japan official X, formerly Twitter, no, it's just Twitter, shut up, that are not that page are not part of the special as featured collaboration, two of them have sparked a massive debate among others on the site that have called attention to the central family dynamic and more. The The first of the ads caused the most pickup, and it seemingly came out of nowhere, as it's a family enjoying a McDonald's food with some lo-fi beats backing up. What is McDonald's anime ad debate about? These McDonald's ads showcase anime-inspired people going about smaller moments in their lives while eating the restaurant's food, while urging customers to enjoy these moments before they're gone. Something about the core message seems to have activated a small part of the audience and has taken the promotions viral in a wild direction. The debate shortly became wildly aggressive in nature, with a minority that has led to several quotes from users that are removed from the vibes of the ads themselves. McDonald's team up with anime are likely far from over, as they will continue to showcase these inspired promotions in Japan and most likely all over the world. Anime is continuing to grow in popularity as it becomes more accessible, with live-action adaptations as One Piece taking over Netflix, serving as greater examples of anime and manga's popularity. Hollywood, future reference: if you're going to do Dragon Ball, Ghost in the Shell, and Blood the Last Vampire again, study the source material just a little bit more properly. Just saying. Because we haven't forgotten about Dragon Ball Evolution, and Raiden's just cringing as we speak. And by the way, the Kamehameha does not involve doing the key blast and then going right through the middle of the opponent. You just do the blast and that's it. It's done.
It's not airbending.
Yes. That will lead to more ads like this in the future. All the attention it garnered will even make it more desirable, negative or otherwise as well. How do you feel about these McDonald's anime-inspired ads? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So let's just quickly go to a new tab. I'll even... Oh, wow. Let's see, just post that in. That's kind of cute, actually. Nice lo-fi. Unable to fetch translation. Okay. I don't see why people are getting bent out of shape out of it. I mean, it's just a small, close family enjoying a Mackie D's.
Yeah, it's kind of cute.
You got to consider one thing, MJ. It's the internet.
Yes.
It's true.
No, I like that. You know, they're all just being chill. Just enjoying the smaller moments. Yeah, I don't know why people are getting bent out of shape over this. Because it looks good. What's happened to the lo-fi? Oh, it's still going. That's good. Yeah, I like it. It looks cute. It's a very nice... It looks like the sort of animation style you'd see from, like, family-friendly kind of things. Like, maybe... Card Captors, maybe the Toonami version of Dragon Ball Z, because the uncut version of DBZ, no. But yeah, I don't see the problem with it. If anything, I think it's actually nice to be producing messages that promote wholesome, smaller moments, that just appreciate the smaller moments, because you never know if you'll get them again. Steven, your 2 cents.
I find these adverts rather enjoyable. As I said just now, things like this always usually end up sparking debates on the internet. Maybe just because you're always going to get that sort of thing when it comes to big brands. They just like to make fuss over nothing, I guess.
I believe there's a Shakespeare play that has the exact title for this: Much Ado About Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
This sounds like the sort of thing that would happen on Monday Night Raw. Much ado about nothing. But as I would say, a whole bunch of bullshit.
Fair.
He's listening. It's like, lads. It's like, honey, he means it with love. Can he mean it another way?
If anything, right now he's ignoring it. He's currently sleeping, so maybe later he'll look back on it. It's like, I'm going to kill him.
He's in his sleep.
Or the band bits.
Yes, that's it, my 1 million subscribers. Donate me 5,000 bits each time. Honey, not that. When did you get 1 million subscribers? Things happened. There's Red like, all right, I have questions for later. Get 1 million subs, yes. Lids, your thoughts on the adverts?
Actually, kind of like them. They're like, the animation style's pretty cute. It's like, I don't see the problem with them. It's just a bunch of people who are thinking, oh, not anime and my McDonald's. And it's like, shut up. I'm sorry, I've offended somebody with that accent, but I don't care because I live in the South. People don't sound like that much, but yeah, that's the only thing that they're butthurt because it's not in the style that they're used to. It's like, anime is a global thing. Sit down, eat a Kit Kat, and shut the fuck up.
You mentioned.
That's all I gotta say to that. It's like they're cute, but it's just I don't understand what the hate is.
Yeah.
And to the Cyber Raiden.
If I'm being completely honest here, it's much ado about nothing. I mean, if anything, it's an adorable picture with more pictures. But and for the people, if you don't get that they took our jobs attitude out of here, bro, I'm just like, touch grass, have fun, stop being stupid, stop being miserable, and just like go away. Something like that.
I mean,
seems like these could be introduced to Colonel Sanders Simulator.
Oh no.
I know what that is. I don't want to play that, but I know what that is. It's also a game only refuses to touch.
Really?
Of course.
It's as you say.
He likes fun, but he doesn't like that kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, with anime being global, I mean, you need only look at both Masters of the Universe Revelation and the Castlevania franchises. To my understanding, Powerhouse Animation is I think they're actually supposed to be based in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Because they're the ones. Let me just have a quick check. Powerhouse Animation Studios. Yeah, they're based right in Texas.
Nice.
So, the fact that they can have, you know, people go and say, "Oh, it's anime inspired." It's like, no, it's anime. Just look at the art, the way it's done, the way the frames are done, the lighting, shading. That is anime 101. I mean, Japan may have been inspired by Disney to create manga and then create anime as well, but they've, you know, ran with it and made it their own thing, and, you know, making it work for them, and everyone else around the world has been inspired to either be influenced or to basically do their own version, you know, their own anime in various other parts of the world. It's in a similar vein. People think Future Funk is purely all the artists, DJs are all based in Japan and South Korea. Robbie on Rose is from Ireland. Aiden Kai is from either Spain or Mexico. Correct me if I'm wrong. And Marzi, who did gotta remember the name of this particular track because I haven't done French since high school, so, you know, my linguistics is a little bit on the rusty side. Je n'ai plus confiance et toi. You know, best to my knowledge, Marzi's French, and, you know, and of course there have been a couple of Future Funk tracks in English, so it's not exclusive to just one nation or one specific region of the world. It's everywhere. It's the same thing with anime. It's why, art style wise, with the characters I come up with, I don't think Western animation. I think, how would that look anime wise? And you've seen the art style that I got from Mara, that Random's friend was able to do, and that's more or less like the image I had in my head of her. Because ever since getting back into anime wholesale a year ago, because WWE were being Vincified at the time, it's like, yeah, I'm out. I'm gonna go off and find something else. This would be like the time WWE is so bad, only would rather watch Nitro.
Oh Lord.
So yeah, anime is pretty much being a set template of what people are gravitating towards, because when manga is outselling, DC and Marvel, it tells you something. I think and I'm only basing this next piece on what I've seen, because I make a point of not giving an opinion on things that I've not read nor seen. But the Owl House in the last 3 years, probably the best thing Western animation has produced for the family demographic. I mean, there's plenty of animation for the not so family demographic, because I wouldn't call Rick and Morty family related. No.
Adult comedy, especially in the later seasons.
So, the Owl House, particularly how it got through seasons 2 and 3, or the small season 3, because thanks Disney, Dana had some really great ideas for that. It told a compelling story, relatable characters. Not really much else I can say for that. Although on High Dive, I've started watching Princess Principal, where it's set in an alternate future 1900s Great Britain. The actors putting on Victorian English accents, they nailed it. It's actually a very, and it's Steve and Raiden will like this. They're going with the steampunk aesthetic. And Raiden apparently has gone missing. Okay. But I know my brother would like that, because he absolutely adores steampunk. I'm more of a cyberpunk myself, because I love what they did with Ghost in the Shell. Unless anybody's got something else to bring to the table, because we are getting close to that time where I need to think about getting ready again.
Nope.
Just a reminder for Sunday, October 29 and Sunday, November 5, Sunday Night Live is returning to its former time slot of 9 p.m. UK Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because whilst I have time off from work, the deal is we get to go back to the good old times. And maybe even a certain adorable one will appear, and then out of nowhere, Kaiju Noir appearing out of nowhere. Why how has he become Randy Orton all over a sudden? I've now got this image of him just dropping an RKO on Raph for no reason. Shut up, Raph! RKO. He listens to this later. What's an RKO? Looks it up. Yeah, I'd do that.
Considering how much of a meme the RKO is nowadays, I think he would know what an RKO is.
Yeah. Although, he actually got a Slammy Award for that, can you believe, a few years back, with the amount that people were putting out.
Oh, really?
The one I find the funniest is, either the one where he's leaping out of this little space pod and flying back down, and the guy's falling back down to Earth, and then he RKO's him, or the editing that this person did on a Vine. That just sounds so antiquated now. Is the way you manage.
Remember Vine?
Yeah, it's the way you sort of see Orton sort of creeping around this playground, and he just gets out the front and just nails someone with an RKO. Like, okay, that is some good ass editing. It's like, I don't know how you managed that, but that's really, you know, like when you get some opening scenes where somehow the editor is able to make the words scroll behind the person in the background, and this is with like live action footage, how they're able to get them to do that without, like, you know, putting them against a green screen and then putting it in editing. I don't know, but that's a clever technique. So yeah, we're back next week at the former time. Until next week, I'm MJ Knight, saying good night from the night.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah. Later.
Also, do not forget to go head over later to Madam President's Twitch page at twitch.tv/Kitsune Rakaku. Make sure you give her 500 subs. And then follow her beau at twitch.tv/Oni Rakaku. He'll probably demand 500 subs and one. And they'll be like, honey, why have you got one more? Reasons? Reasons.
And he's currently playing through Spider-Man PS5, the sequel game Spider-Man 2.
Oh.
Spider-Man.
So join him for more web-slinging adventures.
And Steve probably making more puns. Steve,
just depends on what happens.
And it's like I did at the end of one of the Terminator reviews. Steve, say a pun. Crime and punishment. 500 bits. Really? I can make it 5,000. And it lids in the, you know, director's commentary. It's like, not even he's that cruel. All right, folks. Have a good night, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Good night.
Yeah.
Buy Raiden's book, The Art of Slandering and Getting Rid of the Stupid.
Yes.